college football. As I'm leaving out the house, walking out of the door, here he comes pulling or driving down the driveway, once again, 2.5 hours late. And so, okay, so here he is. I stop, and he pulls up into the yard, and he gets out, and he looks at me. He says, hey, kid, do you know Doug Stewart? And this is a true story. And if you old school Two Live Stews listener, you probably heard this story before. So he gets out of the car. He says, hey, kid, do you know Doug Stewart? And so I look at him, and I says, well, Coach, I'm Doug Stewart. You found the right house. I'm Doug Stewart. He says, oh, yeah. Could you and your family find a more out-of-the-way, more deserted place to live? What? Could you and your family find any place further away from civilization to live? I says, well, Coach, first of all, I don't know why you didn't recognize me. You met me. I visited the school. You met me. You showed me around. And not only that, Coach, this is my home. This is where I live. All right, well, that's fine. Where your parents at? And so I go inside, and my old man's in there, and my mother's in there. And my old man's got this mad disposition because, first of all, this cat's late. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show on the Stewart Media Entertainment Network. This is a true story. So my old man's got this, mean disposition because this cat's late. He's wasting our time, and it's very disrespectful. So Coach Etta kind of straightens up a little bit. He's like, hello, Mr. Stewart, Mrs. Stewart. Very excited to have your son come play for us at Newberry College. And my father, looks at him, and they start talking, conversating or whatever, and he goes to my father, before we sit down and start to sign the papers. He's like, so do you have any questions? And so my old man, he starts asking, questions all over the place. He's peppering them with these questions. And at some point after question 2, and clearly this guy couldn't answer the questions, after question 2, every time my old man asked him a question, he was like, I'm not sure about that, sir. You might want to call the school. My old man asked him another question. I'm not sure about that, sir. You may want to call the school. But what about this? I'm not sure about that, sir. You may want to call the school. That was his pre-described, answer to the question. And my old man was like, well, why'd you tell us that if we had any questions, to go ahead and ask them to you if you don't know the answers? Well, sir, and he's got a cigarette in his hand. Remember, this is 1989, so my old man smokes. It's allowable to smoke in the public places and people's homes. So he's got a cigarette hanging out the side of his mouth, and he looks at my old man, and he's like, sir, I'm going to be honest with you. That's what they tell me to say whenever I come to these houses and pitch these kids, but I really don't know, sir. Call the school and ask them. They can answer your questions better. And so finally he pulls out a sheet of paper, the letter of intent, and I sign it. My old man's mad and pissed off, first of all, because it isn't a full scholarship. So Newberry College is like this NAIA school at the time. I don't even know if the NAIA is still around, that particular conference or league or whatever. It's the equivalent, I guess, back then to Division III football. And Newberry today is actually a pretty good football program. The Newberry Wolves now, not the Newberry Indians. I guess you got to change all of that Indian stuff or whatever. Stop disrespecting these Native Americans and all of that. And so he pulls out the paper, and my old man's pissed off because he watched me dominate the Monk's Corner Youth Football League for many, many years, and he just knew that his son was going to get a free ride to college, and such was not the case, so he was pissed off. Yeah, just pissed off look on his face like, damn, I thought you could play. I thought you were better than this. I got to come out of my pocket for half your damn tuition. So anyway, he pulls out the damn paper. Coach Eddie pulls out the paper, man, and I sign it. And it doesn't take 5 seconds after I sign my name. He gets up and starts walking toward the door. He doesn't want to have any pleasantries or anything like that. And we get outside. My family, my mother and father say, all right, bye, Coach. We'll see you in a couple of weeks when he gets up there for the first game of the year. So I walk him outside. I'm about to go and do my jog again. And he looks at me, and he doesn't even say a word. He gets in the car, backs up, and I remember this like it was yesterday. He looks at me, gets in the car, backs up, and you know how you wave at somebody when you're about to leave? Like it's customary to wave? He doesn't even wave. All he does is peel out. So suffice to say, man, my college football career didn't start off on a good note. It did start out on a good note, but I have some fond memories of it. Not as fond memories as I'm sure a lot of these kids yesterday that signed national letters of intent to go play big-time college football had. And there's a lot of kids that, you know, even though they didn't go to Notre Dame or Georgia or Florida State or something like that, now it's even this big thing where even in small schools like a Newberry College or, you know, or Georgia State or Wofford or Georgia Southern or whatever, it's still a big deal. And so I've had several players, man, like 5 cats that I played ball with in college, for people that don't know. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I only stayed in Newberry College for 1 year because me and my position coach, David Bennett, look up his name, David Bennett, who became the head coach of Coastal Carolina. I think he was the first coach of Coastal Carolina. He was my position coach, and we butt heads. And he's the cat, if you remember, on SportsCenter that had that whole thing. We don't want no cats. We want dogs. Be a dog. You remember that guy? That was my position coach, so we didn't get along. He was very redneckish, and so it didn't work. So bottom line is, a lot of cats that I played ball with, I left Newberry College and went to South Carolina State, only played there a year before I tore up my knee, and then I was done with college football. I just became a full-time Q. A lot of guys that I knew and played ball at the time, their sons signed national letters of intent yesterday. Shouts out to my boy Rob Smith, who played with me at Newberry College. His son signed to play for Georgia Tech. Shouts out to Bruce Jones, who played at South Carolina State at the time I was there. His son signed to go and play at Campbell. Robert Porcher, many of you have heard of Robert Porcher, played like 10, 12, 13 years with the Detroit Lions. He was at South Carolina State the same time I was as well. I knew him actually before we even went to college. His son actually signed a letter of intent to play football at Virginia Tech. Gerald Putman, his son actually signed to play football at Brown University, so that means that kid has some smarts as well. Putman played with me at Newberry College. He played linebacker. So it's kind of humbling, man. It's kind of gratifying, and it kind of makes you feel old. That cats that you played with, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, cats that you played with, their sons now are playing college football, man. And it makes you feel old, but it kind of makes you feel warm inside as well. Congratulations. Yeah, man. It actually makes me feel old. It makes me feel old, and I'm 47 years old, and I guess I should feel old. And this isn't the first year where I really took notice of cats that I played with back in the day and their sons playing college football. I've been talking about my cousin John Rivers, his son. He's about to leave Virginia Tech. So depending on when you got married, when you started, producing babies and whatnot, last 5-6 years, and I'm sure the next couple of years as well, I'll know a lot of people whose sons are about to go play college athletics. And so I really kind of took note of it yesterday that, man, all of these cats that, that I played with or during the era that I played, and they got sons that are in college or about to leave college. John's son, Derek, is about to be a high draft pick in the NFL, man. Signing day is a big day. I mean, it's a big day because it really – I remember reading a story one time that where you go to college is, for most people, the place where they end up living. And I think the number was like 75% of the people. So if you go to college at Florida State, most of the time you'll probably end up living in Tallahassee. If you go to school at the University of Miami, you'll probably end up living in Miami. So it's a big deal. And I remember, like, when I left my house to go to college, that was really the last time that I actually lived under my parents' roof. In the summertime, I came home for like 2 or 3 months or whatever. But for the most part, that was it. That was the longest extended period of time that I ever stayed in my parents' house during the 4 years or the 5 years that I was in college, was the 2 or 3 months over the summertime. And as soon as I graduated, I stayed home for a couple of months as well. And then I got my job, and I moved to Virginia, and then I moved to Florida, and then I moved to Atlanta, and that was it. So it's a big step. It's a big, big step, man. And congratulations once again to all of those kids that are going to play college football. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, no lie. Coach had to look like Billy Bob Thornton. Hey, the number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. And he kind of was like the character in Bad Santa, which, by the way, I just saw the new Bad Santa a couple of weeks ago. Very good movie. I always talk about that movie is a very good movie. Dark humor. You need to go out and see it. All right, 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. All right, listen, I gave you my little National Signing Day story, but that's kind of the big thing out there in the world of sports right now. You know we're going to get into all of this Super Bowl talk today. We'll talk about the top storylines for Super Bowl LI. We'll do that. But when we get back, I want to kind of, dive into a little bit more about National Signing Day. And we don't talk a lot of National Signing Day around here. It's kind of like an annual thing. But I do want to talk about where, like the Puppet Factory says, teams ended up. We'll look at the top 10. We'll kind of touch upon Alabama a little bit more. And we'll touch upon the Georgia Bulldogs and what they did as well. All right? The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Don't go away. Back in 3 minutes. That's right, 3 minutes. If you're from the low country, don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show.
It's just a way of life. It's just a way of life. What you like? What you want? What you like? It's on. Keep it going. Keep working it and working it, working it and working it. Still don't stop. Rise high, sky's the limit. Keep your eyes open, never hoping, steady scoping. Looking for ways to get paid. Nothing's for joking. Like to laugh or mail, get your stuff, but you stand still and you couldn't believe that thoughts do achieve to bring reality. Most do work to get salary. Like hurt worse than battery in agony. Whatever gotta do, feed your family. World is a tragedy. It makes up events and formalities. No flattery. All against the grain and ease pain. The suffer is short, so maintain what you want in your life. Get it, set goals and trends, set it. By no means let it lose sight, don't forget it. Bless the child, my words known poetic. Extremes to rep it. One life, love, I live it and blaze with vision. Let's amaze, craze the rhythm, engage the mission. On my own post position, what you like, what you want, what you like. It's keep it going. Keep working it and working it, working it and working it. Still don't stop, rise high, sky's the limit. What you like, what you want, what you like. It's keep it going. Keep working it and working it, working it and working it. Still don't stop, rise high, sky's the limit. Only made one when they made this. Blood, flesh and bone, all I got, all I'm gonna leave with before you make me jump ship or deep six. I release hits, make sure the rip, word common and spit, bars accurate. Chronicles of life, play your own risk. Life not a game, but each day bringing new twists. Handle this play calm, you're living it. See us set the stage for most who won't live. That glamorous excitement, type live. What you like, we still live in a world of tripe bids and shice kids. Nice kids and life bids. Streets part part of the uniform, we set it on. Chemist to your apple pot holes in your lawn, sweetie, shaking that ass for the cash you keep on. You're funny how things change, no harm to your game and it's get yours. All this work to get paid, some just made, some eternal just slave. Life is a stage where I praise to see the next day bless the child. You style and create, chose for this. It's not the path that I made, no you lie.
What you like?
It's on, keep it going, keep working.